Denver's destiny is now linked with Ukraine and the border, as Democrats in Washington ask for migrant aid to the city to be tied to the deal being debated in Congress. The woman in charge of Denver Health says it is time that we talk about the consequences of their financial crisis.
Elected officials, state, county, and city have to help us deal with what I think is a near crisis regarding health care.
Homeowners who say they got ripped off by the same contractor have a fair question. When does a business dispute become a crime? And it's rodeo for everyone. Hold on. This is next. Donald Trump says if Colorado's decision stands and he's kept off the ballot, it will, quote unquote, unleash chaos. That's what Trump told the Supreme Court at a filing today, asking the justices to put an end to all the lawsuits that says he's an insurrectionist ineligible to hold office. The Colorado Supreme Court's decision is based on that clause in the Constitution's 14th Amendment, the one that disqualifies, quote, officers of the United States from holding future office if they engage in an insurrection. That clause has been cited in efforts to kick Trump off the ballot in a couple of states. Trump argues that only Congress can enforce that part of the Constitution. Trump also wants the Supreme Court to rule that he did not engage in the events of January 6th, and also to rule that it was not an insurrection. In court in Colorado, Trump's legal team argued that January 6th was not an insurrection because it did not last for more than 3 hours. Sounded like something out of a Cialis ad. Trump will be on the primary ballot in Colorado because the Supreme Court took up the case prior to the deadline. So we now have a better idea of just how many people were homeless at one point or another in the metro area last year. More than 30,000 people. That includes more than 7,000 people who were living outdoors for at least a while. The Metro Denver Homeless Initiative tracked how many people access homeless services across the 7-county metro area each year. It provides a broader view of homelessness than the point-in-time counts. Those annually track how many people are homeless on one specific night. According to this latest annual report out today, the amount of people experiencing homelessness from summer of 2022 to summer of 2023 increased by about 3,000 people from the prior year. The number of people experiencing unsheltered homelessness stayed about the same. Contrary to claims of some, the report says the overwhelming majority of people on the streets here became homeless in Colorado. They didn't come in from out of state. Since 2015, 88% of the people counted said their last permanent address was in Colorado. Those homelessness numbers do not include the last 6 months of Venezuelan migrants arriving in the Denver area. Mayor Mike Johnston insists the city's ability to shelter those newcomers is at its breaking point, and hundreds of migrants have been ending up on the streets with no legal pathway to work. Today, the mayor joined some of Colorado's congressional Democrats in calling for federal action.
Any final compromise around the border negotiations taking place right now includes the resources to deliver that structure that every city in this country needs.
They said Denver and other non-border cities are being ignored in the congressional debate over immigration policy and border security. House Republicans are demanding new limits on migrants allowed to cross the southern border and holding up financial aid for Ukraine at the same time. Colorado's congressional Democrats say as part of those negotiations, they're pushing for expanded work authorization programs so that thousands of migrants now in Colorado can get to work while they navigate the legal immigration process.
All that is required is a clear act of courage from the Congress to take action on the things that cities need to be successful. And that is, for us, work authorization so that folks arrive in the United States and arrive in Denver with the ability to do what they want to do, which is to work to support themselves and their families. It means federal resources to make sure we can help support that integration and welcome and support. And it means a coordinated plan for entry so that we have...
So far, Denver says it's spent about $38 million to provide shelter and transportation to more than 37,000 migrants. The city says it's been approved for about $10 million in federal reimbursement. Our next conversation tonight explores another impact of Denver's dual crises of homelessness and migrant arrivals. Denver Health estimates that it's cared for 8,000 migrants, and 1 in 5 patients coming through the doors of that hospital system is living on the streets. Those pressures, homelessness and migrants, have put further financial strain on Denver Health, which is already struggling. Its CEO, Donna Lynn, says Denver Health is at a critical point, and that safety net hospital will have to cut services if it doesn't get more funding.
As a safety net, the majority of our patients are either on Medicaid, so for people who are indigent in some way, or they may have no insurance at all. So that makes us very unique. We don't have a large base of commercial patients, perhaps like you and I, who have an insurance card. Many of them not only have no coverage, but they often delay care, and so they come to us in a way that we've got to provide a lot of care to deal with some of their underlying health conditions.
There might be a public perception that if you spend $1 on that care, the government will give you $1 to cover that care. How does it actually work?
That's a great point. In fact, if we spend $1 on care, we get about 85 cents on that dollar. So we have to make that up some way. And most hospitals make it up by having a pretty large commercial or employed base. We don't have that.
Is there any world in which Denver Health could shift, become more like the other hospital systems that, based on my rudimentary understanding, involves spending ungodly amounts of money on advertising, on 9 News, on billboards and elsewhere to convince people with a lot of money and insurance that if you're going to go get a new hip, that you want to go get it at such and such a hospital? Is there any way for Denver Health to pivot into that market to make money?
I think you will see us do a little bit of that, but again, it's a resource issue. If we're worried about a flood in one of our buildings, the trade-off is, do we fix that immediately or do we put it into marketing? But I think part of what I've been talking to the media about and elected officials about is understanding how critical Denver Health is.
When our conversation continues, I'll ask Donna Lynn whether cities and counties outside of Denver are essentially getting a free ride for their residents getting health care there. We'll also talk about which powerful people she's really trying to reach when she's here talking to us. Handing over large amounts of money for goods and services takes trust. Trust that you're getting what you paid for. Trust that you're going to get, well, anything. Our Marshall Zellinger spoke with families who are in the market for home remodels, now have a financial mess on their hands, but put together, they may have something more.
Look at the size of this door. It didn't fit, so they cut the bottom off on the door.
The funhouse door is not even the worst part of this Denver home remodel.
I can show you the shabby work that they did and didn't do downstairs. We're supposed to have a tankless water heater, but this is our old water heater that was in the house prior to us leaving. They left spackling on the wall. They're live wires. Everything's live wire in here. They just left it like this.
Kevin and Noelle Collins hired a contractor to update their home built in 1951. They expected upgrades like this.
With an island that ran off the wall, and they came to about here.
And came home to this.
I think there was no intention from day one to do our house.
Their emotions are about the hottest thing in this home.
We are at 32 degrees.
No heat, no remodel, no refund of the money they've paid to the contractor.
We are out $260 plus our current expenses.
We wish we weren't out the $14,500, but we've started to make peace with that. And the further we've come in this process, we're understanding that we probably got off lucky.
Patty Klingenberg just wanted a basement expansion.
So down where that wall is, up to the corner of this wall, was supposed to be pushed out to match the rest of the basement and create more room for our child's play place.
This play place does not have any added play space. Patty and her husband had concerns about the design.
We walked it with measuring tape, my husband and I, and the walls just didn't match. And that raised some concerns for us. And we asked him to revise the plans. He did. They still didn't match up.
What Patty and the Collinses have in common is their contractor.
Schwab Builders.
Schwab Builders.
Schwab Builders is run by Sean Schwab, who hung up when I called him twice today.
In spite of us asking weekly, where do we stand with the project? Where do we stand with the project? Suddenly it was radio silence.
Patty in Jefferson County and the Collinses in Denver are not alone. We found a court case in Arapahoe County where a homeowner paid Schwab Builders $48,000 for a job that was never completed, and a judge awarded the homeowner $146,000, 3 times the amount plus attorney fees.
We moved in nonetheless. Once we moved in, a day later, I just realized they're not coming back.
You heard Kevin correctly.
Yeah, they just left it like this.
Despite the exposed wires, the unfinished everything.
I was stubborn and I wanted to try my shower, so I used it once or twice and it sprayed everywhere.
They moved back in October when their apartment lease expired. They expected work to finish around them. Then they moved out when they were told the home was too dangerous.
This house has been deemed uninhabitable and unsafe to live in due to the electrical work that was done. and the structural work that was done.
That should have been done.
That should have been done.
We would love to have a portion of our money back, whatever is fairly owed to us. We're not trying to get everything back if that's not what is fair. But to this point, we haven't been shown any accounting of where our money has gone or what it's being used for.
That last comment by Patty leads to the question, when does a contract dispute become something more? When does broken trust become a broken law? Colorado has a state law known as the Construction Trust Fund. Any money you pay a contractor is restricted for work related to your project. If it's used for something else, Kyle, that's where it crosses the line.
The idea that somebody who gets in the hole and is just using your money to cover their other expenses as opposed to putting it towards your project.
Correct. And that's something you have to somehow prove or document or take to court and be able to serve someone to show up in court to be able to prove all that. So right now, it's a contract issue. With the Jefferson County example, they didn't have anything in their contract that talked about refundable deposit. And so the contractor could say, you gave me money, I'm in line with the contract so far. But then as we started at the beginning, if you have multiple people dealing with the same situation, that's where perhaps it could become something bigger.
I just feel for that couple who's living in an uninhabitable igloo. All right, Marshall, thank you. May I make a recommendation? I want to suggest that you read some journalism that somebody else wanted to keep hidden. Someone stole all the copies of the latest Ouray Plain Dealer. Gone, vanished. It's the edition with the cover story about how the Ouray police chief's stepson was arrested for investigation of a sexual assault at the police chief's house. One of 3 teenagers accused of rape. The Plain Dealer reprinted the edition, and they are delivering it around town again tonight. And we have a link to the article in the next section of 9news.com. I recommend you read it, if for no other reason than because somebody doesn't want you to see it. Venezuela's not going to send you a check. Should Lakewood be sending you a check?
I think that's a great question.
Who uses Denver Health? And who should pay for Denver Health? And we meet some kids who were already exceptional before they became rodeo stars for the day. Denver Health is Colorado's only safety net hospital of its kind, designed to care for people who cannot pay. That cost has grown beyond the hospital's funding, which primarily comes from federal reimbursement and the city of Denver. In my next conversation with Denver Health CEO Donna Lynn, we talked about who pays and who should pay. If somebody comes into Denver Health from Lakewood or Venezuela, you're going to treat them. Venezuela's not going to send you a check. Should Lakewood be sending you a check?
I think that's a great question. About a third of our patients do come from outside the city and county of Denver. In the past, we've actually sent a bill to those counties, Arapahoe, Adams, and Jefferson. We didn't really get a check back, but I do think it's part of an important conversation that I've actually been having with the Polis administration. And hence, we did get $6 million from the state of Colorado for 2024. We're hopeful we'll get another $5. That was a one-time payment. The governor does have in his budget another $5 for 2024. But that's only a portion of the out-of-county people that do come to us.
You've worked both in politics and outside politics. You were lieutenant governor here in Colorado. If Denver Health was able to get what it needed behind closed doors, you wouldn't be on a media blitz talking to reporters about what you need. Whose minds are you hoping to change, and what outcome do you think is reasonable?
I think I'm hoping to change every citizen in the state of Colorado because, as I said, we serve 62 of 64 counties. The core of our services they're all in Denver, but many patients come here because of the quality of the care, as I said, the cultural competency, and some of the services that are unique. Some people in rural areas don't have access to the services that we have. So I certainly want people to understand the breadth and the quality of what we do. And lawmakers. So yes, if you're a legislator in Weld County, you need to understand that some of your residents are coming here to Denver Health for care, and that there's a broader responsibility that elected officials, state, county, and city have to help us deal with what I think is a near crisis regarding health care.
My full 15-minute conversation with Donna Lynn is up on the Next YouTube channel. There we talk about how Denver Health is offering a limited number of apartments to patients who had been living on the streets, knowing that one of the best ways to keep somebody from needing constant medical care is to keep them housed.
Oh my gosh, it was a beautiful day before the midday cool front came in. Sunshine, upper 40s, but that cold north wind brought temperatures down into the 20s this afternoon. And we'll see those numbers drop like a rock tonight into the single digits, with some areas of blowing snow over the higher terrain areas, but winter weather and travel advisories are canceling out. The focus shifts to the east. That whole gray area, that's a wind chill advisory that extends from the northern plains right into eastern Colorado, where the wind chill values could go to 15 below tonight. Maybe a few residual flurries along the front range tonight, maybe a little bit of light accumulation around Sterling, but the moisture with this departing system is pretty limited. So we'll have a mostly cloudy evening, skies will clear late, and that's when temperatures will drop like a rock into the single digits. But we get a sunny day tomorrow, and temperatures will rebound nicely. So your extended forecast shows a sunny, cool, but dry Friday, a little bit warmer Saturday, and then sunshine and 50s for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
You like cowboys?
Yeah.
You like horses?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be good for you then.
All right, then, let's go. Kids with special needs get a chance to experience the rodeo life up close. Next. Bull riding, barrel racing, rope tricks. The Exceptional Rodeo has everything you would expect at the National Western Stock Show. And the stars of the show today, kids with special needs.
Done this before?
Yeah.
Yeah, today was the PRCA Exceptional Rodeo here at the Temple Ground and Equine Center at CSU Spur.
There you go. Hey, good job.
And what it is, it's the mock and adaptive rodeo experience that we host for children with special needs.
What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel? You like cowboys?
Yeah.
You like horses?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be good for you then. Knock him over. Good job.
Yeah.
This is such an important event because this is one way that professional rodeo can share rodeo and Western lifestyle with children that may not really ever get this exposure.
Giddy up. Giddy up.
There you go. Did you like when you threw the rope? Or did you like when you rode the bull? Which one did you like? Throwing the rope? Oh, yeah.
I just had a teacher come up to me and said, when we bring our students out of the classroom and here for the Exceptional Rodeo, we call it the Arena of Freedom. And it's freedom to smile and to play and to experience something new and to just be part of something.
Woo-hoo!
70 kids took part this year. Organizers hoping to go even bigger in the future. An all-day Exceptional Rodeo welcoming hundreds of kids. Feedback tonight, spicy. We'll do that next. Finish tonight with feedback from Mark, who emailed during the show. Good Lord, Kyle, you always make me miss Walter Cronkite, Peter Jennings, and so many others. Real men who are real journalists. You will never reach as high as those men. Never. Mark, some constructive criticism back at you from somebody who's gotten thousands of those emails. You got to give me like a challenge at the end.